Sweet. Okay, that's recording. Already, 3, 2, 1, we're on. All right, guys, welcome to the OneTribe Podcast, and we're back. It's been a while since I uploaded, and I wanted to get this done regularly, but obviously things going on here in Dubai. It was quite hard because we didn't know if we could go back to work and the movements and the restrictions and whatnot. But I've got today's guest, my long-time friend, one of my best mates from Australia, Jonathan Nicholas, and he's going to be my guest today. And we're talking about in terms of how people have got through the isolation and obviously COVID-19 in their way and how it's affected them. And as I said, my first guest all the way from Australia. We grew up in Sydney together, and we've all sort of dispersed around the world now. And I'll throw it to Jono, mate. Welcome. And bro, give me a bit of an introduction, background on yourself, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me, bro. Like you said, you grew up what, seven houses up because it's 1 down 7.
That's
so
it, mate.
Same street, primary school, just always hanging out. Like you said, we've all gone different ways around the world. I've ended up in remote Western Australia in the Kimberley. So
for
I'm a
those
youth worker.
For those who don't, like all my the followers who watch this from this region, Middle East. So Jono is basically out where we would consider like the Western Desert out here in Dubai. So he's out far. It's not a city town like Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, whatever you guys are familiar with. He's right out in the red sand. So the stuff that you do see on the maps of Australia, what Australia looks like, that's where he's living at the moment. Yeah, sorry, bro, keep going. So yeah, your work, youth worker.
And just going on that to show where we sort of are, the biggest city to me is Broome. So that's like a big tourist town in Western Australia, and that's a good 6 hours drive from me. Then there's Kununurra, another smaller town, which would probably be the size of Bankstown. Like, that's it. That's about 4 hours drive. Halls Creek, we would probably fit in Bankstown Airport area for us growing up. Just like, it's really small, not really much around here. So it's sort of something where the isolation didn't affect us too much because
you're isolated as it is, right?
It's that thing where we've got one pub and one motel that does like dinner, where you can go get a dinner service.
Yeah.
So we don't have the options that you have, where you can go to a cafe for breakfast, go here, go there, and have a cinema. We don't have anything like that. So that side of things shut down. All that means is on a Saturday, me and my partner would go up there for lunch. So we can't do that. Yep. Other than that side of things hasn't affected us too much.
Yep.
So
there wasn't much to strip away when isolation came to you guys. Like, so it was, a few things here and there. And it wasn't, I mean, like you said, it's a pretty self-isolated town anyway, in terms of big city necessities. So there's not much that they've got up there in terms of that you guys missed a lot. Bro, touch on your work. So you're a youth worker. You've gone into youth work, and now you're working up there. So touch on that, bro. How's that? Well, first and foremost, what does a youth worker do? And what's your role in the community up there?
Well, there's lots of different sort of areas of that youth work stuff. So what I did when I first came to town was I was in charge of like the local youth hub. So there's a rec center down here with a little rec room where we had a pool table, PlayStation, some lounges. Yeah. So the kids could just hang out, have somewhere safe to go and, play basketball, kick the footy around, stuff like that. So it was pretty much just us keeping the kids entertained because there's not much for the kids to do around here. So there are some issues within these towns with juvenile crime. So it's sort of keeping their kids on the positive so they don't fall into that track of getting up to mischief.
So, I mean, with the internet, with this stuff hitting the world quite hard, there was always the thought in every city in the world, people like yourself who play such an important role in the community, what was going to happen to these kids now that they can't go to the youth centers or they can't come and see somebody like you or someone like you who keeps like some sort of order amongst the communities. Was that an issue for you guys up there? And, you know, because I know just listening to the like say in New York where, you know, kids not going to school, some of them depended on schools to eat or get a meal and stuff like that. So pulling that away, people are like, okay, what happens to these poor kids? So was it sort of similar to that kind of feeling?
It was that one where, because when all the changes started coming in here, it was day by day, the changes kept happening. So me and I was sort of working slightly from home at that time because they'd said, well, we weren't supposed to go into the office anymore.
Yeah.
So I was like, still figure out what's going on. And my boss was happy for me to just sort of watch the news, keep updated, and come up with a plan for how we can still do stuff.
Yeah.
Because up here it went from, we weren't allowed to have outdoor gatherings because luckily our rec center with the outdoor basketball courts, they're just covered.
Yeah.
So that's an outdoor space. So we could have 500 people in an outdoor space. So that was like cool. That doesn't really affect us.
Yeah.
And then it went to, it had to be by square meter. So you were allowed one person for every, I think it was 4 meters squared or something like that.
Yeah.
So then I had to measure the outdoor space, and it worked out that I could have about 100 something there.
Yeah.
And I was like, sweet, I can still run my activities as long as we're like not playing contact basketball shoot around, people aren't too close to each other, we could still do it.
Yeah.
And then the next day it pretty much changed again to where we had to have 10 people. And then it got classed as youth work and rec centers is not essential, close them down. So we were sort of thinking, well, what is going to happen?
Yeah.
And there were those sort of concerns. But what has actually been quite good is some of the kids who were out all night and had a real street presence, this COVID thing has scared them. And now they're in the house, they're with the families.
Yeah.
So we've now got that question with some of these families. Well, okay, now that COVID's finished up, you've done a really good job looking after your kids and your family during COVID. How can we keep you on that track now? Because we don't want to see the kids now it's done, start hitting the streets again.
Yeah.
That's where we want to try and find out what's happening. Like, it's a tough one, but we do have a few organizations in town that have been giving out packs to people in isolation or trying to keep them in. Yeah. So there was one that dropped around soap to every house in the community because we ran out of soap at the local shop. So service came around and gave every house in the whole town of Halls Creek 2 things of soap because we're combining. So a lot of the services in town are moving in the right direction. So.
All right. And I mean, look, that you saying that like 2 bars of soap for each family, like in the normal city world or in a normal world, even here in Dubai, like that's shit that you don't even think about, but it was a necessity for these families. And this goes on to my next like point is that a lot of people didn't realize what other people were going through during this time. I mean, it's still going obviously, but you know, and the reason why obviously I spoke before we went, we went live was looking at our group chat from Australia and stuff with all the boys. It never seemed, and I mean, look, every country was different, or every person's scenario was different, but it never seemed like those things were a real. It wasn't necessary because I remember the boys like going off about how people are bulk buying and this, that, and the other, which was, look, to be fair, in the cities was fucking stupid, right? Because like they get replenished stock daily, which was silly. But for you guys up there, people couldn't get 2 bars of soap. And that's when you go, well, you know what, this stuff.
The thing is, it wasn't bulk panic buying up here, which was the good thing.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that we don't have the trucks come through maybe once a week to fill up the place. Yeah. So once we got sold out of like the hand sanitizer, it wasn't people going in buying 10 things of sanitizer. It was people buying 1. Yeah. But obviously once it got sold out and it got harder to get up here, we just couldn't get it in. So one that was quite funny though is we had plenty of toilet paper in town.
Yeah.
So
the rest of the country,
we had
bloody...
and the thing that was funny here, we've got a bus that drives from Broome through to Darwin, which is like the Greyhound bus,
Yeah.
So they bring all whoever through. They got off in town and tried to bulk buy toilet paper here because they couldn't get it wherever.
Yeah.
So it's that, the people at the shops had to pretty much say, no, this is for locals. You can't come and buy your 10 packs of toilet paper because then we're not going to have it.
Yeah.
So it was just that the soap and hand sanitizer ran out because we just couldn't get the stock up here.
Yeah.
There wasn't any panic buying, which was quite good. We had a laugh about it because, we're remote and we struggle to get stuff, yet people were calm about it here and just like, oh yeah, just buy what I need. Like,
yeah. I mean, look, now it's calming down. I think after the first 3 or 4 weeks, people were like, shit, this thing is actually a lot more serious than it is. And I remember speaking to you and, we said if the COVID runs riot up in places like rural countries, like rural towns like you're in, there's going to be massive trouble because like your hospitals, I'm assuming are small. They wouldn't be able to take the influx of people if they did come in at one time. So there was the fear of that. I remember also speaking to you, when this was at its height, rumors around a small town. I mean, I live in a city. It's fucking huge. There's 8 million people in this country, and a rumor would start in one corner and be by the afternoon, the whole country knows about it, right? So I couldn't imagine what it felt like to be in a small city where people were saying, "Oh, so and so may have COVID," and then, like that. There's the Chinese whispers there, But
it was that where it firsthand happened to me.
Yeah.
Because when we came back from, obviously me and my partner went on holidays to the Maldives, came back through Singapore.
Yeah.
And we had a day in Darwin and I got a throat infection.
Yeah.
So I've come back, gone to the hospital for my sore throat. The doctors have gone, we know what it is. You've got a throat infection, bacterial. Here's your antibiotics. All good. So I had a couple of days off for that. Went back to the hospital for some more painkillers and a doctor's certificate because I wanted to go back to work the next day. Their policies had now changed. So because I'd come back from overseas and I had a throat infection, the throat is still classed as the respiratory system.
Right. Yeah.
So I picked the boxes to be tested for COVID. I'd been overseas and I had a respiratory infection. So the doctor there, like as soon as I walk in the hospital, they give me the mask. I'm with my partner. My partner doesn't have a mask.
Yeah.
They put us in this back waiting room and then the doctor comes in with a mask.
Right.
So my partner's even thinking, if I've got it, how come they didn't give her a mask?
Yeah.
So it was funny, like people sort of knew I didn't have it, but had to follow their procedures.
Right.
And that's when both me and my partner then had to do isolation until my tests came back. And then that's when the rumor mill went around town that because I had been tested, it just went straight to, I have coronavirus.
Yeah.
And then it got into other communities. So there was rumors going around in another community that's, I'm not sure how far away, but far more remote.
Yeah.
And they were saying, oh, the Halls Creek youth workers got corona. The ABC News actually called the local police station to try and find out if the youth worker in Halls Creek had coronavirus.
Yeah.
So that was it just spiraled out of control. And it took a while for that to leave. Like even some of the kids still ask me, oh, didn't you have coronavirus, sir?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I got tested. Didn't mean I have it. But it's just.
So, I mean, I could imagine that was quite stressful in itself, knowing that, okay, like you are the main youth worker in town and, these things you want to be open as possibly can be, but then with this going around town, are people fearful of working with you, et cetera, et cetera? I mean, it was a domino effect in itself, you know what I mean? Like, as you said, those rumors spread fast and, thankfully you didn't have it and it was what it was, a bacterial infection. But at the same time, we don't know if you didn't have it. Like I know you got tested. You got tested quite early for this thing, but I mean, look, it is what it is. Like I said, I was severely sick at the start of this, and I don't know, whether it was my mind also playing, making it worse because the media was drumming it into us daily. Everything you watched was the worst possible outcome for it. So, it was a tough first 3 weeks with the media just hammering down on us. So like now you're on the other side. I know Australia's restrictions are getting lifted a lot quicker than the rest of the world. With work, you guys slowly start going back into, youth hostels and stuff like that. What do you see goes forward? Like, I know you touched on it saying that you don't want, like, the families right now are sort of doing a good job of keeping these kids inside and in control. What do you see now, the new world, if you put it, look like in terms of for your job and your town and in that region?
It's the thing for me is, although all these restrictions are starting to lift, we're still in a biosecurity zone. Like the Kimberley, how they've done it in Western Australia is they've shut down whole different areas of the state.
Yeah.
So there's the Perth part of area, and they can travel within. Then there's another part that you can travel between them areas, and then we're right up the top, the Kimberley region.
Yeah.
So last week we weren't even allowed to go to the next town.
Right.
So they're like the shires or the council, different council areas. So we had to stay in Halls Creek Shire.
Yeah.
We weren't allowed to leave Halls Creek Shire unless it was for like essential work or medical. So I had to go. It affected me because, as you know, I've got history of skin cancer.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even get a skin cancer checkup here.
Yeah.
Because they stopped the skin specialists coming to Halls Creek because it wasn't deemed essential.
Yeah.
And like you said, we're in a small hospital, so if something did kick off here, they need all hands on deck for that. Like, seeing someone with skin cancer wasn't essential for them. So I needed to get a doctor's certificate to travel to Kununurra to get a skin check. So they've just opened up the Kimberley, so we can now travel to Broome, travel to Kununurra.
Yeah.
But we can't go to Perth.
Right.
So, sorry, bro, my dog's running amok in the backyard.
Give it a boot in the rib.
We can't travel. Yeah, we can't travel to Perth.
Yeah.
So that's something where I would say should be the new norm.
Yeah.
Because us being so remote, if someone comes from down south with the illness and spreads it here, that's when it goes like wildfire.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So us being able to say, no, we want to be blocked off from the rest of the state for now.
Yeah.
Is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Because we got tourists and fly out workers who just don't really care, sort of thing. And that's what puts the community in jeopardy. Like, so that side of things, I think it should be.
It's funny now
comes to these places.
Yeah, you've got to be. I mean, look, I think it's, most countries you guys are a rural town, but it has to be treated like a country, like you said, because you have a limited population. The population up there is important for that region. If you have infection come in and it spreads, then, it's a fucking nightmare. So you have to have that one in, one out process right now for safety. It's funny you saying this to us all now, because obviously we've all kept in contact with, Zoom and WhatsApp and whatnot, but this is the first time hearing of it the way you're explaining it. So, I know in Dubai we had 3 to 4 weeks of like lockdown. We couldn't even leave the house, which was hectic, but I could still get stuff delivered to my home, like food, groceries, whatever. You had to get the permits to leave, and it was a pain in the ass. But I said this morning where I feel there's too much complaint in a region like this for minimalistic stuff, and it's fucking annoying because, like, people are saying, "Oh, I need a change of scenery now." They've opened up hotels in the Western Emirate, and where do you reckon everyone went both weekends that we've been sort of on, semi-restriction? Yeah. So seeing that stupid shit and then seeing our numbers go skyrocket to up to 700 a day, 800 a day. Well, I don't understand. It's very confusing for what we're trying to do. But I understand the economies have to start to go again. You know what I mean? And that's a big thing. And you're feeling it down there. I was definitely feeling it with the gym being closed and whatnot. So luckily things are slowly starting to get ahead or start moving again. But economy wise, are you guys like struggling up there, or things are like, is there been help from the government? Or because I know your partner, you touched on it before, your partner is a police officer, right? So has she been working on like the border restriction and stuff like that as well?
There was a little bit of that, but it's sort of, we've been quite lucky that where we are, the police need to do their normal job here anyway. Yeah. So I think there was a bit of border control stuff, but then our nearest border is with the Northern Territory.
Yeah.
So then from what I believe is that the NT have then taken on that border. So they're now policing it.
Charge of that, okay.
So it's tough because that border is a remote border.
Yeah.
So it's not like a highway. I'm pretty sure one of them is a dirt road and there's like nothing around anywhere, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's that thing where the biggest economic issues around here is what they're all saying, because people really live off that tourist economy.
Right.
Because we got the wet season and dry season.
Yeah.
So probably a bit more difficult to how you guys are, because you guys have tourists pretty much year round. We've got half the year no tourists.
Yeah.
That's the wet season.
Yeah.
And then once that dry season comes in, we start getting all the tourists. We call them the grey nomads. So it's like the caravans coming out and seeing the country.
Yeah.
But we got them. So they're the ones who a lot of places in town seek out that money. Yeah. Like I know when we first moved to town, there's a local cafe. The cafe doesn't open till the tourists start coming to town. So then there's a bakery, same thing. The bakery doesn't open up till the tourists start coming to town.
Right.
So now that the tourists aren't coming to town, the cafe and the bakery is probably not going to open this year.
Yeah.
So it's that one where they're not making the money, and it puts us into that thing where we're already isolated. So for us, just going to a cafe or a bakery and buying lunch is like, oh yeah, it's like a treat for us.
Yeah,
so now that we don't have that,
of course,
it's like, but at least now we can travel between the Kimberley, so we can at least try and, like, we're planning on going to Broome, so we can, although they're not getting all the tourist money, at least we're stimulating the Broome economy by going down and spending some money there.
Yeah,
so,
I think, well, like you said, I think a lot, I mean, I know Australia, the Middle East and wherever in the world right now, I think holidays now for the next at least 6 months to maybe even a year to overseas countries or other parts of the world will be very limited. People do have that anxiety to travel about travel. A lot of money will be spent in the region that they're in, just like you guys were saying. So people, I mean, being an Aussie myself, it's awesome. Like, you take the good with the bad, and the good for Australia is a lot of people, instead of jetting out in their summer holiday or Christmas holiday, will now get in the car and drive to other parts of Australia and get to, visit places they haven't in Australia. Because, I mean, we're good as Aussies at getting on a plane and traveling and going to see Asia and all this, but half of us don't know our backyard, so it's good that's going to happen, pumping more money into our own economies, and I think the same
exactly
same happen here.
Like you even saying that when I was living in Kununurra before I came here, so for me to get back to Sydney cost me close to $2,000 to get back to Sydney. Same, and then I booked a holiday from there to Cambodia.
Yeah.
Cambodia only cost me, I think it was $800 return. So
$2,000 to get back to Sydney. What was your fucking flight here when you came here and visited me? It would have been about 2.5 or something, right? Or even cheaper.
Because when I did the flights with you, they were all booked in. So it was all them little ones. When I went to Egypt and Jordan, all that was included in my package. But I went a bit overboard on that holiday. I know the holiday when I came to Sydney, I think cost me about 20 grand. But I lived it up when I was over there with these
You
guys.
gotta
So I
do it
didn't,
once,
that
do
20,
it once.
that 20 grand I didn't mind, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, the 2 grand is just because we are so remote. So for me to fly to Sydney, especially from where I am now. So for me to get to Sydney for Sunil's wedding, I'm going to have to drive to probably Darwin, which is a 10-hour drive. Or no, sorry, 12-hour drive to Darwin. And then I can get a direct flight from Darwin to Sydney.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I got to do a 4-hour drive to Kununurra.
Yeah.
Fly from either Kununurra to Darwin and then Darwin to Sydney, or Kununurra to Perth, Perth to Sydney. So it's just jet setting going all around the spot.
And now, look, now you understand. So like when the boys just off the cuff say, "Oh, Jono, when's your next trip home?" You're like, bro, like it's not that easy anymore. Like you're basically living overseas inside your own country, and it's not that easy anymore, bro. Like to book a flight, it costs money, right? You've got to have it like when it fits your schedule. And you need to now, like you see, that's why when people ask me, "Oh, well, how come you don't come home often?" Or it's once a year, because it's got to be for something. As much as I miss everyone and miss my family, it's got to be for something, because it's a 14-hour flight across the ocean. And mate, it's now you have to prioritize money, especially now, bro, with this COVID-19 thing. You don't know if you're going to have a job or if things are going to be like this for the future. We don't know. It could go either way for all of us. You know?
The thing that the COVID puts a whole nother twist on things with that is now the 14 days isolation. So
when you land, right?
But not just where you land. So that's if you're coming from overseas. For us, where I am, if say for instance,
if it's
I had an accident or whatever, just throwing it out there, and then my mum needs to come see me.
Right.
Because then it's classed as essential, she can come.
Right.
But my mum will have to do 14 days isolation when she goes to Perth, because that's different border.
Right, crossing borders.
And then another 14 days isolation going from Perth to the Kimberley.
Yeah.
So
mate,
that's 4 weeks now. 4 weeks before she can even see me isolation.
So that's the other thing. This is why people won't want to travel either, because of these things, these restrictions.
And that's got to get added onto your annual leave. So I'm hoping by the time for Sunil's wedding, that all changes. But it could be where for me to go on 2 weeks in Sydney, I've then got to do 2 weeks of isolation getting from Sydney back to here.
Right, so you're stepping out of work for a month, basically.
Pretty much. So, so I'm hoping that all those restrictions are changed by then. But there is that possibility of, because I've now left the Kimberley, I've got to do isolation to come back in, because if it does, if something like that, if COVID comes into this region, it'll be devastating.
Oh, mate, massively. So for listeners listening, that, can't sort of grasp where he is in Australia, like we said, we touched on it at the start. It's a small rural town. What's the population, Jono? Like just approximately?
About 2,000.
Right,
but it fluctuates as well. So because we've got smaller communities around town, like not around town, that are a couple hours out.
Yeah.
In wet season, if there gets a massive rain, some of these communities, you could be locked into that community.
Yeah.
So they might leave community and come to Halls Creek. So if it does get flooded, they're not stuck there.
Yeah.
So it can really fluctuate, but it's about 2,000 people. So
right,
it's not
2,000 people before COVID-19. Dubai Mall's food court on a weekend would see 2,000 people. That's a food court. So that's just to give you some idea of how small that town is and what, possibly could happen to small rural towns in Australia or anywhere in the world. If this thing if COVID grabbed them and had its way. Bro, so now, after it's all said and done and we're sort of getting back to some normality, did this time sort of make you think that you want to be closer to family? I know you're in the same sort of position as me, like your work and your life is there now, and obviously you meeting your partner there as well. So the family's up there as well. So, but a part of you, well, a part of me as well, is that 1 foot in, 1 foot out kind of thing for me is like, whoa, money's not everything. Like when you don't get paid and you take all the materialistics out of your life, especially for me, you've been here, this place is full of materialistic needs. And on the weekends, we spend our money as much as well as we make it. You know what I mean? So having that stripped out away from a lot of us, it's sort of taken us back to bare basics. And, to be honest, man, like I'm happy I put away a bit of money last couple of years that sort of seen me through before I got back to work just recently. But at the same time, I look back and go, fuck, I don't know about the rest of us, but like I was an absolute dickhead. You were out with us. You came out like with my money, bro. Like I just one hand and throw it out the other. But it made me think too, is that like I don't need any of that stuff. Like this is the basic of basic lives. Like, you know what I mean? That we're living right now. And to be honest, I've never been, when I've got money and the money's coming streaming in during the, from work and okay, you're doing well, but are you happy? Nah. So now my life's gone back to basics. I've almost completed a nutrition course, this simple things, bro. I was able to pick up a couple of books and read them that I'd never be able to do because I'm so self-obsessed with making cash, making sure that everything's paid and making sure like if your profile's not raising up here with work and stuff. So that shit was gone for like 2 months, bro. And it was nice. It was good. It was good to feel, you know what I mean? So like, how do you feel about it? Do you feel like that a basic life? And I know I know you, like you've never been like that anyway, but in terms of a basic life will be better from now on going into the future?
It's something that how I've seen it affect the major cities and everyone like, like it's blowing people's minds.
Yeah.
But like I said, up here, it's already, once you move from Sydney to a town like this, it's already that smack in the face of, wow, this is a whole different change of life.
Yeah.
So once the lockdown came, like I said, all it affected was us going to the pub on a Saturday and having a few beers and having a feed, playing some pool.
Yeah.
Other than that, hasn't really affected too much. So it's made me more comfortable in the fact that, all right, working in these smaller towns where community does mean a lot, like you get that vibe that people want to look out for each other. Like a perfect example was when all the bulk buying was happening in Perth and all the major cities, there was that worry that we're going to run out of food.
Yeah.
There's a community out here that's got like a cattle station on it.
Yeah.
One of the ladies from there offered that if we run out of food, that's cool, no worries, I'll bring fresh killer, which is like a whole cow. You know what I mean? So that's enough to feed everyone. So it's that thing where don't worry, if you run out of food, we got you. Yeah. Type thing.
Right. So that's awesome. Like, because I just touched tomorrow's guest that I've got is in Lebanon, right? So they've done it again. Like it's like you're doing it tough there. Obviously, there's another way of what the word means tough on that side because, you know what I mean? But we'll touch on that with him tomorrow. But I mentioned it to him is that the funny thing with this whole experience of this COVID thing is that people have stepped out of the woodwork that you would never have expected to extend the olive branch, right? Like the people you thought that message you or call you and say, "Oh, bro, you doing all right up there?" Or "Are you sweet for money for now?" Because I know that work stopped. Like for me, I know that the people that I expected it, expecting is the wrong word. I don't expect anything from anyone, but you know, I'm a certain way. Well, I'll send a message or I'll give a call or, you know, are you sweet? Just let me know if you're not, you know. I know a lot of people won't take the offer, but it's nice to have that someone go, bro, just checking in, all good. If things are getting a bit hectic, let me know, you know, we all work together on this. It was funny who actually stepped to the plate on that, you know what I mean? When you don't expect it. And I was like, geez, like that's weird. I probably like, it blew my mind. And the people you thought you haven't heard from, you know what I mean? And I was like, fuck, like this thing really made me assess because you know how it is. Like, I mean, you be the same now, you know, like a lot of our interaction is over over WhatsApp and stuff like that, that you keep close with your friends, like our main group. And then your friends in your rural country or a city, it's very limited, bro. I can count my closest mates on one hand, and I wouldn't even fill up that one hand. And that's the truth. So that's mad, like that, at this age where we all grew up. Look at us, like we've got, I don't know, 12 or 13 boys on that chat, which talk every day. You know what I mean? And still keep in contact from when we were kids. But then when you get older, people start dropping off, or you make these new circle of friends and you go, shit, it's not like what I thought it would be. Or I don't know, maybe it's our upbringing where like how we grew up, where we had each other's backs on everything. You know what I mean? It was like, like, bro, I'll get $1 chips and that's our lunch or something, whatever it was. Like we grew up in that, and you forget that's how we lived. So you carry that over into being an adult, and maybe sometimes people abuse that or whatever. And it was very funny, because even going back to work now, after this is my third week at work visiting people's homes. Not once has, a few of them have, I won't lie, but like daily, bro, I've been, obviously, to keep my business running and keeping that, like, I'm meant to be a guide for these people, just like you are for these kids, right? Like there's got to be an outlook there. If someone's doing it tough in this group from the gym, well, there's a daily message that goes out on their WhatsApp group. There's on the stories, there's workouts, blah, blah, blah. You do what you can just to keep the relevance. And I'm not doing it because I wasn't getting paid. I'm just doing it because that's what I have to do as a leader, right? But it was funny going back to work and okay, well, look, I can fit you in at this time. I'm going to try my best to be on the hour, but, I've got to travel now. So it's going to take me a little bit, 26 minutes. You rock up after 5-6 weeks and not seeing these people, and then not one of them asked, "Oh, how you doing? Like, how's the last 6 weeks been?" Or it's just very self-absorbed. Like, okay, cool. We're so glad to have you back to train us. We've been missing the training. I'm like, fuck, it blows my mind what kind of city I live in, bro. It's so self-absorbed. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the kind of thing that's sitting on my shoulder. I shouldn't let it, but that's just the kind of thing that's pushing me more to go back home to a normal place where when people ask you how you are, they actually mean it. Do you know what I mean?
But I think that's your industry, but which is the sad thing. So I reckon it'd be the same thing here. There'd be people that just want, my trainer.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's different when you're training in the gym.
Yeah.
Because we're mates, you know what I mean?
Not even on an industry level, bro. Like take it away from industry level. Like doing what we do. Like you're in the same class as me. You are a teacher, you're a leader, and you have to inspire people to become a certain way or be another way, a different version of themselves, right? That's black and white. That's what we do. And it's very, very rare that people ask, like, as much as, bro, it's tiring. You can tell me right now, like doing what you do, having that energy every day and having that, like, you need to not dictate, but guide people the right way. And then you get home and go, fuck, I'm fucked. And it was tiring, man. It's tiring every day because you're putting out a bit energy and then you get home, you don't have time to deal with your own shit. Do you know what I mean? And so you roll into the next day and you fucking, and that's why, bro, I know just doing like research and reading and stuff that, psychologists, youth workers, fucking personal trainers, they're the first people to have these cracks on themselves. As much as we do what we do and we're meant to be the pillars of our society, not all the time it comes back. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't come back. Even like if you walk in and your missus goes, "Jono, how was your day?" That's enough for you to go, right, just start venting and go, "Oh yeah, it was this little," and that's enough. That's off your chest now. Do you know what I mean? It's made me, I've always known this about this city anyway. And I'm not hammering the city. I know what I signed up for, but it's just funny. Something as drastic as what we're going through now has not changed what I can see, the attitudes of some people in our society. It's just about me. And that fucking blows my mind, bro. I don't know. Just, it's sad. It's honestly sad to see. And you just got to get on with it, I suppose.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a tough one, bro.
Yeah. It's stuff that you've seen, like, but nothing would change people that's got that mentality. That's just me.
Yeah.
Like there might be some people who, you know, they take something like this as the kick and go, all right, nah, that hasn't been working, make some changes. But, you know, you can't make everyone happy all the time. So it's something for me, my job, as long as you know you're doing a good, the best job that you can do, whatever then the reaction is, whatever. So it's like, you know, stories I told you when I was in Sydney, when I was in out of home care, some of the stuff I used to deal with on a day-to-day basis. As long as I could leave work and go, you know what, I tried my best today. Yeah, it went sideways. Yeah. But what are you going to do? You know,
that's the thing. Like, you're right, because it's hard not to take it personal, because you like, no matter what you do, you invest so much into these individuals, or, you know, you try to change attitudes because of what we're doing and whatnot. And sometimes it just doesn't work. And you're like, what the fuck? But yeah, I think for me, I've got to stop letting it become personal. And I guess that's just the person that I am. But yeah, like, that's one thing I've got to stop doing, because it's either, you know, it's easy. Like, I don't like to take someone's money if they're not going to put in the hard work, right? Like, it's not just about training. Fuck the training. Training is like this much of it, but I'd love to see people go, especially after this, bro. Like, as I said, we've all been stripped away of nothing. But when I came here with nothing. So it felt like those days, which I was actually happy. When you're earning less money, things are a lot easier and there's less problems. But so now seeing these things, you can see how it turned a lot of people in different ways. Not bad, not good, but like, it was weird just to see the reaction of some people not know what to do when their backs are against the wall. You know what I mean? And I guess that for the most part is that, like, a city like Dubai needed a shake up, because it was a city that you could anyone could land and become anyone they wanted to be. And it was like you could walk into any job and get paid for it. And it's become a real young city. So, you know, older heads like myself who are classed as older heads now, were in competition with these young, fit, enthusiastic, but didn't know how to handle communication of other people. But because they looked a certain way, they thought they could charge a certain price, etc. So I think, and they're unfortunately, I'd like to see anyone fail, you know what I mean? But the thing is that those same people have gone quiet now, and almost disappeared, right? So the city did need a good shake up, but it's what happens now over the hill once this thing settles down, because I don't think it's ever going to go away. It's always going to be here now, vaccine or no vaccine. But this is it's an eye opener for what's to come maybe in the future, and then what else could happen in the future of all of it. And I think, you know, for me, I don't know, I'll ask you, is that, has this opened your eyes now to, like, becoming better with cash, because, you know, have that buffer zone to that rainy day fund, you know what I mean? Rainy day fund. Do you think that's important now?
It's that one where it depends on who's essential and stuff like that now. Yeah. That's why when we used to joke about that group chat when it first came up, like, oh, who's essential today? You know, who's still got work today?
Yeah.
So luckily for me, the jobs where we are in at the moment, like me and my partner, is pretty essential in this town. So we've got that money coming. Like, there's a lot of people not in that same boat.
But take away the essential services. What if you and your partner ran your own business? Say you had your own youth house or hostel or whatever. Then it'd be a different story, because you've got fuck all, like, there's no one helping anymore. You know what I mean?
That's something that for me as a youth worker as well, I've always got that, because we're always based on funding.
Yeah.
So
so it can be cut at any time. Yeah.
Like, perfect example was this COVID. Before this COVID was coming in, I was in talks with the people who fund my program.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, there's a few things that weren't going to plan. So I already gave her the heads up that my end goal of what I was supposed to be doing is probably never going to happen. So if the funder wanted to, they could then turn around and say, well, if you're not going to meet what we're giving you this money for, we will take your funding off you.
Right.
Chances are they won't, because we're still delivering a good service.
Yeah.
But now that the COVID came in, the funder was again like, look, we know you can't run the rec center anymore, so we can pause your funding and renew it once COVID flies over, or we can continue to fund you and you can do bits and pieces throughout COVID. Yeah. That's conversations then that's gone to my manager and higher up. But when COVID first came in, I was driving around telling all the kids the new rules to be like, these are the rules. But it's where I had that, if my funding's taken, I lose my job. Yeah. But it's that one where it's tough. The Australian government were pretty good with that JobKeeper and increasing the New Start. So if you did lose your job, it's better than what you were, what it used to be, because it used to be 500 a fortnight or something like that. I remember from when I quit my job forklift driving, went back to uni, from making $1,000 a week to then getting $440 a fortnight. Yeah, it's tough going. That took a lot of getting used to. So it's something where I'm probably lucky where I'm going in life anyway. I wanted to start saving money so we can start looking at that family, buy a house. Start, you know, the adulting, as they say, you know, like start doing adult things.
You gotta
like,
do it. I mean,
like, you know,
and that's the thing. Like for, I mean, obviously, like living here, own business, whatnot, we didn't get any help. So you're on your own. Like people have lost their jobs here, bro. Like 500,000 people are out of work and waiting for the flights to open so then they can go home. So they're expecting about 1 million people to leave this city once these flights open up, whenever that is. That's fucking crazy. So for me, over the hill, ridiculous. I'm going, right, what happens in the next 3 to 6 months? Is there going to be people who can still afford gym memberships because their incomes went down to maybe 2 people working in the household down to 1, maybe down to 0? Yeah. Is there going to be work for them here? 80% chance that all these people get on flights and go back to their respective countries and start life over again, because I know, speaking to a lot of people, going, well, fuck, we're so far away from the rest of the world. There's no help here. You know, that's it. Like you're fucked. So you can't even pay your rent. So this has scared a lot of people here to go, you know what, I'm an expat. I understand there's no help for us. And I'm out here because I ain't going to do another year of this. Is my job safe? Is my job safe? So, you know, for me, it's a thing where I could go both ways. I know fitness and health now more than ever is going to be at the forefront of everyone's agenda. Everyone will want to stay fit and healthy because they've seen how fucking awful it can get if you're not. Okay. So I know that that's going to be there worldwide, where it doesn't matter wherever you live. That's going to be definitely up there. But is Dubai going to see it go back to a cycle when I first arrived in 2006, 2007, where it was a smaller community, city was growing. You know, you could only charge X amount because the city was small, even though salaries were high, but you wanted to keep longevity business. I have a feeling the city's going to go back to that, where you used to be able to walk into like the limited pubs and bars that were here and know everyone. You can't do that anymore. Like it's a cosmopolitan city. Like you'll walk in there, don't know anybody. So I have a feeling it's going to go back that way. So who knows? I mean, look, you know, I got my olds, like I guess everyone's parents are worried about their kids and they're like, listen, come home. And I'm like, look, I still got a lot to do here. This has been life for me 14 years. You know what I mean? It's not just like a working holiday. It's that working holiday finished 2-3 years into when I was here. So, we'll see, man. But like at my age now, and I guess you're the same. You just touched on it. It's gone are the days of the ego. I don't need to have success to prove my worth anymore. I know what I'm worth and where I stand and what I can do. I've survived this long in a city where, you know, you don't really get handouts. So I believe I could move home and do just as well. But it's also where the different version of me now is that if the writing's on the wall for Dubai, then drop the ego and go, hey, look, it's been an awesome run. I love this city. I will love to come back here in 5 years' time on a holiday and see how much it's changed and whatnot. But that's where I stand with it now. Yes, I've got a lot to do in Dubai. I still want to keep going and doing what I'm doing out here. But, you know, if it so be, we've got to pack it up and move, then I'll do that. So that's, yeah, as I said, that's where I stand. It's not going to be a decision that comes in like 2-3 months. It's going to be what's over the hill. What does this COVID thing do to the world that changes it that dramatically? If it changes it, that has to make us reposition ourselves for whatever we do. And I think that repositioning is going to be quite intense for the next, 6 months at least. You know what I mean? Even for you, bro, like working with the kids, like how do we go back about that? What is the safety protocols? Like it's going to be crazy.
It's you know me as well. I'm a conspiracy theorist anyway. So I think a lot of this stuff is just, whatever, you know what I mean? Like before COVID, Ebola, SARS, swine flu, bird flu, it's always going to be something.
Something, right.
So if you're going to be worried about everything, you're never going to get nowhere,
No,
so
of course. And that's,
all it really means for me is that it's that work health and safety procedures I got to make sure I tick in the boxes.
Yeah.
So we got to have hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
I got to probably run smaller groups. So the thing is, in this town, the kids love discos. Yeah. I have no idea when I'm going to be able to throw another disco.
Yeah.
Because we get our biggest disco in this town, like for the youth services, it was my work. We had police helping, and we had one or two other services sort of helping out a little bit. We had 260 something people at this disco.
Yeah.
Like pool party disco, kids, families, everything. So we can't run anything technically with more than 20 people at the moment.
And it's funny because like I've been back at work for a couple of weeks now, and I'm visiting houses, and some of the groups that I'm doing in the houses have maybe 5 people. And like look, until I read the articles and get on the media sites, I forget about COVID because cool, it's not ideal that I'm driving around to people's houses, but it is what it is. It's a way of making a living. It's what I used to do before the gym, and we're back to that, whatever. If it stays like this, whatever. But what I'm saying is that I forget about the COVID thing. And it's funny because I'm not watching media anymore. Like I try to like switch off to all the stories regarding it. So, within 2 weeks, it's actually left my mind. I'm like, okay, get on with it. And bro, there's been times that I have, like, as much as we're disinfecting all the equipment that people use and whatnot, we're doing the right things there. But personally myself, getting back out there, outside, touching shit, you know what I mean? Like, you wash your hands, but come home, you eat and stuff. That's what I feel. And actually being in the sun again, it's my safety mechanism, bro. Like it's made me feel safe. It was when I was in the house and I'm like, ooh, those fucking first week outside, Jono, like, I didn't touch handrails, and you know me, bro. You know me the best. I'm a clean freak as it is.
Yeah.
But this
exactly
absolutely went overboard, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what am I doing? Stop it, because I can't live my life like this. This is stupid. The way I'm tiptoeing around this, just forget it. Like you forget about it, and bro, it's been a game changer for me, man. Like I'm back to work. I'm visiting people.
Like, the getting back to your own way is necessary for your mental thing. Like,
fuck yeah.
Like how I said before, when we did that 1 week complete isolation where we weren't even allowed to leave our house to go to the shops or anything because we were waiting for my test results. I normally hang out at home anyway.
Yeah.
1 week at home is not that big a thing, but it's more, I don't like that one being told you can't leave your house because of this. So that's what in my head in, like, I can't leave my house. Like I can't go past my driveway. Or I was also told, if I do leave my house or if I'm with someone, I've got to wear the mask.
Right.
So that's like, I felt that's what made me feel uncomfortable. Like,
yeah.
And now, like, you know, we got to hand sanitize and all that. But I think we've been lucky where I am remote. Like, I've seen some of those pictures, and I think of like the people brawling in the supermarkets in Sydney and stuff like that over toilet paper. I'm like, they're not social distancing. What, a bit of hand sanitizer on their hands. If one of them's got it, they all got it.
But this is
So
where, bro,
it's that
like,
one where,
but this is okay. Perfect example. Like, I don't want to go into it too much because it's, you know, we don't know much about it and fuck speaking about it. But Sydney, New Zealand, Sweden, fucking fair other countries didn't go into like full lockdowns, right? Like people were still able to move. I know boys on our chat, I'm not going to mention names, were out every day and saying, oh yeah, isolation. I'm like, hang on, fuck, you've been out every day to a shop or this, that, the other. So then Australia's come out pretty good in comparison to like some of these countries. I know like places like Sweden and shit, their numbers are crazy, but they also said they gave their people an option and said, look, if you want to isolate. If you're sick, stay away from the elderly. But otherwise, go about your lives as you are going about them. Just have the common sense and use your fucking head, like which you should be doing anyway. You get the cold and flu now, and I said this on my work post, I think yesterday or the day before, is that we all have a duty of care now, more than ever. It's not about the virus. Fuck the virus. I'm now in two minds about this bloody thing anyway, but regardless, that's my opinion. But we all have a duty of care because we all used to like to go, okay, I've got the common cold and flu. I'm going to go to the gym and sweat it out. No more of that, because even that like is stupid. It's a stupid way of thinking. I used to think like that. So many other people. It's just you spread it. Your trainer gets sick. Your reception. It's a domino effect, right? So let's cut that out. If you're sick, just stay at home 4 or 5 days. Get over it. Then come out. But that's where I think we need to have that duty of care and responsibility as citizens is just to do that. You know what I mean? Because I get it. We need to get this economy and we need to all go back to work. We need to make a living. We need to put food on the table, and it's got to be fast, bro, because I know that a lot of people struggling like around the world, even in our country, Australia, man, there's like third world living standards now, bro. Like, you know, so I don't know. I don't have the answers.
That's where for me it gets tough because there's the struggle. There's a lot of economic struggle. 100%. I get that. But then if all these worst case scenarios that they're talking about, how it could wipe places out, like this is me, especially thinking for my town.
Right.
Fair enough. We don't have tourists coming through and the big tourist places are having a sook about, why can't the tourists come?
You're right. Right.
Okay. The economical thing is it's an issue. But if this comes and wipes the town out, that's worse than some people making some money. And those people that are making money, they're not going to be affected by the town being wiped out because they're the ones, you know what I mean? Like, so I feel there's situations like that. The same thing you said about the going to the gym when you're sick and sweating it out. There's people that are selfish and only think of themselves.
Right.
Like in whatever the situation is. And it's that mentality, I think, that needs to be the biggest changer. It's that we're all in this together. Like, we're all humans. We're all on Earth. You know, like every action has a reaction. You know what I mean? So what you do can create something else. You go to that gym sick, you make 10 other people sick. Like, just stay at home. Like it's the same thing for me. Like when I got tested, I was talking to the doctor, and both me and like the doctor was saying, we don't want to be that person responsible for bringing COVID to the area.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you probably don't have it, but what if that small percent chance that you do have it?
Yeah.
Like, do the right thing, stay at home. And I'm like, yeah, sweet, no dramas. Like,
right.
I could have went out. Like, we took our dog out one time and felt bad.
Yeah.
Because we drove our dogs about maybe a K out of town to this remote area. You see those little videos that I take my dog out. It's nothing. Yeah. But it still just felt bad because we were supposed to be locked down in our house, and we went and we took the dogs out. So
not everyone thinks like you though, bro. Not everyone thinks like you. And I'm seeing it now here in Dubai. Like we're on semi restrictions and we can move and we can exercise outside and stuff. But fuck, man, like if you've been that desperate to go and get a hotel room with like 10 of your mates and get on the piss, like where's like the common sense and the decency is not there. Like, and we've seen it, like
Yeah.
media outlets in the UK have picked footage up from last weekend out here and they're rinsing this place again. And you just think, fuck, like how dopey are people? But, you know, we were young once and you think, well, I'm bulletproof to this. Like, bro, straight up admit it. Before COVID was an actual thing, you know, that first week or two, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, we're on the beaches, we're doing our boot camps and stuff. And you're like, I'm not going to get this. Fuck knows if I had it 2 weeks later, I was sick as a dog for like 7 or 8 days. I'm like, maybe not. But, you know, it definitely makes you think. And for me, you know, before like we wrap it up, I've come out of this going, right, money's not everything, you know, definitely look at other people's situations a lot more thorough because not everybody is in an awesome position or a great position. So my thing going forward, bro, and I will stick with it. It's not a hope I'll stick with it. I will stick with it, is that, you know, not try to help everybody. I'm not going to be able to help everybody, but make sure I'm able to at least for whatever I do now going forward till I'm off this planet is try to make other people's lives a little bit better who are less fortunate, because this thing, man, showed me two different sides of people, especially living in this city, is that you've got people who will reach out when they've got nothing and still want to help. And the ones with everything just back out and go, oh, I'm checking out. And I'm like, fuck, that's crazy selfish. You know what I mean? And now on the back of that is that people losing their livelihoods and jobs and businesses and whatnot. So, you know, again, like I said, I won't be able to help everybody, but whatever I can do for certain individuals, I'm going to try. And bro, otherwise, what's the purpose? What purpose are you going through life? You know what I mean? Fucking, and if it comes back around one day, it comes back around. It's not like, you know, you're asking for it. So.
And yeah, you saying that is why I changed up my career path. You know, like the funny thing is when I left that forklift driving, I was making very good money doing forklift driving. When I got into youth work, I was making less money. Yeah. But I was happy doing youth work because I'm at least I'm doing something.
Right, you've got a purpose, man. You go home and you feel better than here's $1,000 cash that you go, cool. And or you've got a kid who comes out the end of this and goes, I was on the wrong track and now I've got a job at the local McDonald's because of things that you put in place. That's huge.
Even, you know, there's just little things like the town I worked in before coming in here.
Yeah.
When I go back there, just a kid that'll go, oh, we miss you, Jono, come back to town. Just small things like that. It's like, oh, you know, my time was well spent there.
Absolutely, bro. Like, absolutely. And that's what makes it, man. That's what makes what you do. You service other people as much as, like, sometimes, as I said, sometimes I come home and go, fuck, you know, I'm working with some people who are just self-absorbed and, you know, they don't appreciate it. But then, you know, I see that they appreciate it in their own way, you know, which is not, you know, I've never done this for thank yous. I'm in the wrong industry for thank yous, right? Like, you get paid fuck all for what you put out. But yeah, I mean, for me, bro, that there's so much more than just money, bro. Like, I've got people that I train for free on my roster because of whatever situation that is. And I'm happy to do it because when I do it like that and I see them getting benefit out of it and everything changes, but that's more than a 12 session package. You know what I mean? Like that's
your pay there, that you've done good work. You know, like you've gone,
absolutely. And that's what, like, you know, especially over in Dubai, I come across a bit of a Grinch in the industry in terms of, I'm forever hammering this industry, but at the same time, I'd love to see it go back to why, like, when I got into it and I would go home and I'd see that 40-year-old dude on the gym floor still doing his 8-9 hours in Australia on the gym floor and he's 40 plus. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Like, But now I know why. It's a passion, bro. It's not just a job.
Yeah.
It's a passion. You know what I mean? So I get it now. I get it. It's not for the looks. It's not for the likes. It's not for any of that. It's you like helping people, bro. So yeah, but that's good, bro. So like, I think we've gone over an hour. We started 12:30, but that was good. Good little session. But I'll send it off with you signing it off. Where do you want to be in terms of the next 6 to 12? And like, what's your outlook? Like, have you got a positive outlook for the next 6 to 12? And you know, what do you want to do to sort of get it all back on track?
Like, it's, for me, I see it where I think our state premier in Western Australia has done a good job, and ScoMo has done a pretty good job in Australia around it. So I'm glad that we've got that like plan now, so we know what's next and where we're going and those things. The main thing that I just would like is the same, is people that it's me type thing. So I'm happy for the Kimberley to be locked down as long as it needs to be locked down to ensure the safety of this region. You know, like I don't see where someone crying about economics, like, oh, it's hurting my pocket, should affect the lives of all the people up here.
Right.
Like, so that's something where I just want to make sure if people are want to get back to normal, like, I want to go and have a beer at the pub, like, and a feed at the pub, but I'm not stinging for it.
Yeah.
Like, I want to run another disco for the kids here, but I don't want to run it at the risk of the kids. So it's that thing of just moving forward, making sure everyone's doing the right thing. It's always going to be now, like, as a safety, you know, wash their hands and everything like that. But I'm hoping that the people who may have lost their jobs, at least then go into something that you want to do. You know what I mean? Like, if you're someone who's worked in a cafe, doesn't really like working in a cafe, now's the time that you're unemployed. Study once this thing finishes. Get into a job. Get into something that either you like or is gonna hold, like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, absolutely. And you're spot on. You're spot on in terms of a lot of people will come out of this and go, fuck, I actually hated what I did anyway. But now it's up to them to go, can they step into the unknown? People hate the unknown. This is why not enough people own their own businesses, or they're just doing shit they hate. You know what I mean? So you got a good point there, bro.
Exactly.
All right, brother.
So it's that thing where, but we ended out. That's my main thing, bro. Like, don't stress. If you're it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. But if your missus is at the door hearing it, she probably, like, when I asked that question, she's like, he better stay, fucking get married and put a baby in me. Right. Coming up for it. Anyway, brother. All right, bro. Good to talk to you.
Don't worry. That's your plans, but that's another chat. That's a chat between you and me, not for your podcast.
Yeah. Sweet. All right, bro. Good to talk to you, my man. Thanks for the time. And bro, that's Jonathan Nicholas, one of the boys back home, and now doing his thing up in rural Australia. So check him out. It'll be on YouTube. Thanks for joining in, and peace. Jono. Peace, brother.
All right. Peace, bro.